There are moments in life when eternity seems to whisper to the soul, calling you higher, calling you deeper, calling you to a place where ordinary living is no longer enough. And this year, this very year, you must decide whether you will drift through it or step into it with purpose, with surrender, and with a heart fully yielded to the divine presence. The first decision you must make is this: you will not live casually anymore. You will not wake up each day without intention, without hunger, without expectation. Something within you must rise and say, this year will be different because I will be different. And that change does not begin outside. It begins within the quiet chambers of your heart, where true transformation is born. The second decision is to guard your time as something sacred. Time is not just minutes and hours. It is the very fabric of your destiny. Every wasted moment is a missed opportunity to grow, to listen, to become. Learn to step away from distractions, from noise, from everything that pulls you away from what truly matters. In the stillness you will find clarity, and in clarity you will find direction. The third decision is to embrace surrender, not partial surrender, not convenient surrender, but complete surrender. There is a place where your will bows low, where your plans are laid down, where your desires no longer compete with a higher purpose. It is not easy, but it is in that surrender that power flows, that peace comes, that true transformation begins. The fourth decision is to cultivate a life of deep, consistent communion. Not just moments of need, not just words spoken in desperation, but a daily, intimate connection that becomes the very breath of your existence. When you learn to dwell in that presence, everything changes: your thoughts, your choices, your direction. The fifth decision is to let go of the past completely. Not just the pain, but also the regrets, the failures, the things that still try to define you. This year cannot be maximized if you are still chained to what was. There is freedom waiting for you, but you must choose to walk away from yesterday and step fully into today. The sixth decision is to walk in obedience, even when it costs you something. There will be moments when you feel the gentle prompting to act, to speak, to move in a certain direction. And in those moments, you must decide, will you obey or will you hesitate? Great things are often hidden behind simple acts of obedience. The seventh decision is to protect your heart from negativity, from doubt, from voices that weaken your faith and drain your strength. Not everything deserves your attention, and not every voice deserves your agreement. Be careful what you allow to take root within you, because what grows inside will eventually shape your life. The eighth decision is to pursue growth relentlessly. You cannot remain where you are and expect a different outcome. Growth requires stretching, discomfort, discipline. It requires you to step beyond what feels safe and familiar. But every step forward brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. The ninth decision is to serve with humility. This is not about recognition, not about applause, not about being seen. It is about giving, about loving, about pouring out what has been placed within you. There is a quiet power in a life that serves without seeking reward. And finally, the 10th decision is to trust completely. Even when you do not understand, even when the path seems unclear, even when the answers do not come as quickly as you hoped. Trust that you are being led, that nothing is wasted, that every moment is working together for something greater than you can see. This year stands before you like an open door. It is filled with possibility, with purpose, with moments that could shape the rest of your life. But it will not happen by accident. It will happen through decisions, intentional, courageous, unwavering decisions. And as you stand at the threshold of this year, let something within you rise and say, I choose differently. I choose deeply. I choose completely. Because when you make these decisions, you are not just changing your year, you are changing your life. There comes a moment when you realize that life cannot be lived on autopilot anymore. That drifting from day to day, without intention, slowly drains the very essence of who you are meant to become. To live with purpose is to awaken your soul to something greater than routine, greater than comfort, greater than mere existence. It is a conscious decision that every step you take, every word you speak, and every thought you entertain will carry meaning and direction. So many people move through life reacting instead of choosing, allowing circumstances to shape them, rather than rising with clarity and vision. But purpose demands awareness. It calls you to open your eyes in the morning with expectation, knowing that this day holds something valuable, something intentional, something designed for growth and transformation. It requires you to pause and ask yourself not just what you are doing, but why you are doing it. Living with purpose also means aligning your actions with what truly matters. It means saying no to distractions that steal your focus and yes to the quiet inner voice that leads you towards significance. There is a discipline in this kind of living, a holy determination that refuses to settle for mediocrity. You begin to recognize that even the smallest decisions carry weight, shaping the direction of your life one moment at a time. When you choose purpose over passivity, you step into a life that is awake, intentional, and deeply connected to a higher calling. Your days are no longer empty or repetitive, but filled with meaning, guided by a sense of direction that cannot be shaken by temporary circumstances or fleeting emotions. Time is one of the most precious gifts we have. Yet so often it slips through our fingers unnoticed, wasted on things that do not matter, on distractions that cloud our vision, or on business that leaves us exhausted but unfulfilled. To guard your time as a sacred gift is to recognize that every moment holds the potential to shape your destiny, and that how you spend your hours will ultimately determine the quality and direction of your life. This decision begins with awareness. You must look honestly at how you use your days, identifying where your energy is being drained and where your focus is scattered. Many people live in a constant state of hurry, reacting to every demand, every message, every expectation without pause. But when you treat time as sacred, you step back and choose where to invest it, choosing activities and relationships that bring growth, purpose, and alignment with your deepest goals. Guarding your time also means learning to say no. It means protecting the hours meant for reflection, prayer, planning, and meaningful work from unnecessary interruptions or trivial pursuits. Saying no is not rejection, it is affirmation, affirmation of what truly matters. Affirmation of your priorities, affirmation of the life you are determined to build. It requires discipline to structure your day intentionally, to plan for what is essential, and to resist the temptation to fill every moment with noise or distraction. It also demands mindfulness, a constant check on how your minutes are being spent and whether they honor the life you are called to live. When you make this decision, you begin to see time not as a commodity to be spent recklessly, but as a sacred vessel through which your purpose flows. Every hour, every moment, becomes an opportunity to grow, to serve, to connect, and to move closer to the life you desire and the destiny you are meant to fulfill. Surrender is not a simple act of giving up. It is a profound decision to release control over the areas of your life that you have tried to manage on your own, and to open yourself fully to a higher guidance. To choose complete surrender means letting go of your fears, your plans, and even your desires when they conflict with what is meant for your highest good. It is a conscious acknowledgement that you are not the ultimate authority over your life, and that real power comes from yielding to something far greater than yourself. Many people struggle with surrender because it feels like weakness, like losing control, but the truth is that surrender is the doorway to strength. When you allow yourself to let go of the need to control outcomes, you create space for clarity, peace, and divine direction. You learn to trust a process that is bigger than your understanding, and in that trust, your life begins to align with a purpose that cannot be forced or manufactured. Complete surrender also requires honesty with yourself. It demands that you face the parts of your life where pride, self-will, or stubbornness have held you back, and that you release them fully. It is a daily choice to lay down the patterns of control, the habits of self-reliance, and the fear of uncertainty, and instead to walk forward in faith, This decision changes how you respond to challenges, setbacks, and delays. When you surrender, you are no longer anxious about what you cannot change or frustrated by circumstances beyond your control. Instead, you learn to move with patience, discernment, and an unwavering hope that what is meant for you will come in its appointed time. Surrender is not passive, it is active, courageous, and transformative. It shifts the burden of life from your shoulders to a power that can sustain you, guide you, and transform you from within, allowing you to step into your destiny with confidence, humility, and a heart fully yielded to guidance beyond yourself. Building a deep and consistent spiritual connection is not something that happens by accident. It is a deliberate choice to make time and space for intimacy with the divine every single day. It begins with the understanding that your life is not meant to be lived in isolation or in the strength of your own abilities alone, but in constant communion with a presence that guides, strengthens, and transforms from within. This connection is the source of wisdom, clarity, and power that ordinary efforts cannot produce, and it requires intentionality to cultivate. Consistency is the key. It is not enough to seek connection only when life becomes difficult or when you need direction. True spiritual intimacy develops when you create patterns of daily engagement, moments of stillness, reflection, prayer, meditation, or study that become the rhythm of your life. Over time, these moments shape your character, align your thoughts, and attune your heart to guidance that surpasses human understanding. A deep connection also requires attentiveness. It calls for listening more than speaking, observing more than reacting, and being present in ways that go beyond mere habit. In this attentiveness, you begin to recognize subtle promptings, gentle nudges, and quiet insights that steer you toward decisions and actions that honor your purpose. Furthermore, this connection brings transformation. The more consistently you engage with it, the more your mind, emotions, and actions begin to reflect a higher order of life. Patience replaces anxiety, clarity replaces confusion, and confidence replaces doubt. Your relationships, choices, and ambitions begin to bear fruit because they are rooted in a source that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Developing such a connection requires commitment, discipline, and courage, because it often challenges comfort zones and demands that you prioritize what is eternal over what is temporary. Yet the rewards of a life lived in constant communion are immeasurable, providing strength, direction, and the ability to navigate each day with focus, peace, and a heart aligned with something far greater than yourself. Letting go of the past is one of the most powerful decisions you can make if you want to maximize your year and step fully into your purpose. So often, people carry burdens from yesterday, regrets, failures, disappointments, and hurts that silently shape their present and limit their future. The moment you choose to release these chains, you create space for freedom, growth, and new opportunities. It is not about forgetting what happened or pretending that pain did not exist. It is about refusing to let the past control your today or define your tomorrow. This decision begins with acknowledgement. You must face the experiences that have weighed you down, confront the emotions tied to them, and recognize how they have influenced your choices and actions. Many people avoid this process because it is uncomfortable, but avoidance only strengthens the hold of the past. By looking honestly at what has occurred, you take the first step toward liberation. Forgiveness is an essential part of letting go. Not everyone who hurt you will apologize, and not every situation will resolve as you wish. But forgiveness frees you from carrying anger, resentment, and bitterness. It releases the grip of the past and allows your heart to breathe again. Letting go also means shedding old identities and labels that no longer serve you. Perhaps you see yourself as someone who failed, someone who missed opportunities, or someone defined by mistakes. This year demands that you lay down those false identities and embrace who you are becoming, unencumbered by the weight of yesterday. When you make the choice to release the past, your energy, focus, and vision are no longer scattered. You step into each day with clarity and intention, ready to embrace possibilities and pursue goals with renewed passion. It is a decision of courage and faith, trusting that what lies ahead is far greater than what you leave behind, and that your future is not determined by what once was, but by the choices you make now. Walking in obedience, even when it is difficult, is a decision that separates those who live a life of purpose from those who drift through existence. Obedience is not always convenient, comfortable, or immediately rewarding. Often, it requires you to act against your natural inclinations, to step into uncertainty, and to move when the outcome is unclear. Yet it is in these moments of faithful action that character is formed, doors are opened, and blessings flow that could never have been earned through convenience or comfort. The choice to obey begins with listening. There are subtle promptings, quiet nudges, and gentle convictions that guide you toward what is right, necessary, or essential for your growth. To walk in obedience is to respond to those promptings without hesitation, without arguing, without delay. It demands a heart that is willing to trust even when understanding is limited and circumstances appear challenging. Obedience also requires courage. It often asks you to stand apart from the crowd, to resist popular opinion, or to take steps that others may not understand. There will be moments when it feels easier to conform, to delay, or to choose the path of least resistance. But choosing obedience in those moments is what transforms ordinary life into extraordinary purpose. Consistency is crucial. Walking in obedience is not a one-time act. It is a continual commitment to align your actions with what is right and true, even when the immediate results are not visible. Over time, this pattern of faithful action strengthens your character, sharpens your discernment, and builds trust in your own ability to follow through with integrity. When you decide to obey faithfully, you open yourself to guidance, protection, and opportunities that would otherwise remain hidden. Your life begins to flow in alignment with principles greater than yourself, and the impact of your choices extends beyond your immediate circumstances. Obedience creates a ripple effect, shaping not only your destiny, but also influencing those around you, drawing you into a life that reflects purpose, discipline, and faithful commitment.